I'm going to tell you the story that why I choose the major that I choose. When I was finishing high school, I wasn't sure about what I wanted to study in university. I always knew that I would go to university. My parents, grandparents, and my sister all went to university. So when I was a child, I had no doubt that I was going to university too. However, when I became older, I realized that even if I had already decided that I was going to university, I didn't know what I was going to study. I suppose I didn't know that people go to university to study a specific subject. At the school, I wasn't good in science or chemistry, so I never thought I would study anything that would require any of these subjects. However, I was a kind of good at math. Nowadays, every time I must do any with math, my sister says, "You can barely count. It's better if you don't do it." So I was good in math, but it wasn't funny. As a result, I decided I didn't want to study anything with math. Over time, I started to become nervous about what I was going to study. I thought maybe I could study political science. I had taken a workshop on politics. I used to find it was very interesting, but in my last year of high school, I realized that I didn't want to work in that either. So when I started my last year, I didn't have any clue about what I would study. Even if I didn't know what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to study something I felt passionate about. So I began to think about what I could study. Since I was a kid, I have always loved books. I learned how to read when I was 4 years old, and I have loved reading all my life. At the school, I used to read between classes, and more than once I could be seen walking and reading around the school. Nowadays, I still do it, but it's a little dangerous walk and read on the street. Could you imagine someone reading while he's walking from the SD to the Franco? Probably a car could run over them. So I only do it when I'm inside the campus. However, as I was saying, I really feel passionate about books. I enjoy the stories and how they can transport you into another world. So I told myself, I want to write and make people feel the same that I feel when I read. After that talk with myself, I decided that I wanted to be a writer. Finally, few days after, I decided to do that. I told my mom and she decided to have a meeting with her friend. He told me, if you want to be a writer, first you will have to study how to read literature, and then you will be able to write. He told me more things, but while that was the most important and for that reason, I chose to study literature.